Hi everyone, I'm Alisa, and I wanted to talk with you about the GAPS diet, which is formally known as Gut and Psychology Syndrome. Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride, who's the author of this diet, holds a degree in medicine and postgraduate degrees in neurology and human nutrition. She has a clinic in Cambridge where she specializes in nutrition for children and adults with behavioral and learning disabilities and adults with immune system and digestive disorders. I chose to research this particular diet for two reasons. First, I followed this diet myself a few years ago and am excited to share my experience with it. And two, Dr. Natasha believes that there is a link between learning disabilities, the food and drink that we consume. This component is close to my heart because of my dream. My dream is to create a clinic for children, adolescents, and adults for nutrition and academic support. I have felt strongly about the connection of diet and behavior for years and have been unable to articulate my thoughts. Dr. Natasha articulates the connection very eloquently. Back to Natasha. She set up the Cambridge Nutrition Clinic in 1998. Her motivation is quite personal. She is the parent of a child who was diagnosed with learning disabilities. She devoted her time to helping these families, realizing that nutrition plays a critical role in helping children, adolescents, and adults overcome their disabilities. What is GAPS? Gut and Psychology Syndrome is a condition that Natasha Campbell identified as a connection between the function of our digestive system and the brain. Dr. Natasha Campbell has worked with hundreds of children and adults with conditions including, but not limited to, autism, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, schizophrenia, dyslexia, dyspraxia, depression, obsession-compulsive disorder, bipolar disorder, and other neuropsychological and psychiatric problems. GAPS derive from the SCD diet, which was developed by Dr. Sidney Valentine Haas during the late 1940s. SCD is formally known as the specific carbohydrate diet. He wrote a book entitled The Management of Celiac Disease in 1951, which helped popularize the diet. Dr. Sidney created this diet to use a naturopathic approach in treating chronic inflammatory conditions in the digestive tract as a result of damaged gut lining. Much popularity was achieved when a mother named Elaine Gottschall tried using this dietary approach with her child who was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. Her child ended up feeling much better from practicing the treatment involved with SCD diet. Dr. Natasha appreciated Dr. Sidney's approach and adjusted her protocol to fit the individualized needs of her patients' sufferings as a result of an imbalanced gut. The theory behind GAPS is that a cascade of reactions occurs over time. Many people today are walking around with abnormal gut flora due to the types of foods, and I'm using this word lightly here, being consumed. By foods, I mean products that have been refined, genetically modified, covered in pesticides and toxins, processed, sugar-filled, and submerged in grease and trans fats. I'm not sure if we should call this food, but for the purposes of this presentation, I will. As incredibly resilient as our bodies can be, having an abnormal gut flora for a sustained amount of time leads to a number of issues, including a leaky gut, nutritional deficiencies, food allergies, inflammation, and so on. In addition, other ingested toxins, as I mentioned before, get absorbed. Think of this as a fresh wound. As we continue to feed our body this so-called food, it scratches the wound over and over. As this happens over time, our detoxification system becomes overloaded and begins to shut down. Symptoms usually start appearing once this happens, and they only continue to worsen over time. As our detoxification system weakens, problems begin to present. Abdominal pain is the most common complaint of those affected by this syndrome. This may include spasms, dull aches, and constant discomfort. Abnormal stools include diarrhea, constipation, and occasionally even both. Incomplete evacuation means trying to use the restroom and not feeling like it's been completed. Frequent gas is due to the different types of constituents in the foods that were being consumed previously. The GAPS diet, for many, is a 2-year commitment. Since Dr. Natasha Campbell recognizes that major changes will take place, she broke it into different phases. She has outlined the GAPS introduction diet, full GAPS diet, and then coming off the diet. In addition to these phases, people are encouraged to take supplements if a nutritional deficiency is occurring, and they are encouraged to make lifestyle adjustments as well. These adjustments commonly include stress reduction activities, such as nature hikes, yoga, and gratitude journals, which we'll get to later. The introduction diet isn't always easy or necessary, though according to Dr. Natasha Campbell, it should be used if the individual is experiencing severe GI issues, is diagnosed with autism, type 1 diabetes, has severe learning disabilities, severe food allergies and sensitivities, or has diarrhea of any origin. The full GAPS diet can be delved into immediately if the individual is not experiencing serious GI issues, if they have chronic constipation, if they are a very busy person, and older children with ADHD or dyslexia, and finally, clients who find it difficult to make changes. Let's dive into what this looks like. The introduction diet emphasizes a whole foods approach with very low fiber to allow a healing atmosphere in the gut. A person can move through the stages very quickly if they should choose, but it depends on the individual. Some move through the introduction phase in 1 week, while others move through it over a month. Sometimes people need to bounce back from stage 4 and 5, and so on. This is completely subjective and should be based on the person's experience. The intention of the introduction diet is to heal and seal the gut lining quickly. It achieves this by providing 3 factors. 1. Large amounts of nourishing substances for the gut lining, such as amino acids, gelatin, glucosamines, fat, vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients. All of these substances are what the gut lining is made of. The gut lining renews itself all the time by shedding off old and worn-out enterocytes and giving birth to new ones. In order to produce healthy enterocytes, the gut lining needs special nourishment. 2. The majority of people on GAPS have inflammation and ulcerations in their gut lining. Because of its status, it may be really sore and sensitive. As I said earlier, fiber is removed along with other agitators that may irritate the gut and interfere with the healing process. And finally, the cell regeneration process in the gut lining is facilitated by beneficial bacteria. Without the presence of these beneficial bacteria, healing cannot be accomplished. Because of this, the intro diet provides probiotic bacteria in the food form right away. Moving on to the full GAPS diet. This should be followed for a minimum of 2 years to help the body create a healthier gut environment. Foods are introduced gradually to allow opportunity for allergies and intolerances to present. Juicing should be done twice a day. Broth is a huge component to this diet and should be consumed daily. Though the list of foods to eat is quite extensive, there are several groups of foods that should be avoided. These include all grains, starchy vegetables, sugar and other sweeteners, including artificial ones, lactose, starchy beans, all processed food, and all food additives. Let's return to the meat stock broth for just a moment. 1 cup should be consumed with every meal. Broth is extremely nourishing since it's full of minerals, vitamins, amino acids, and other healing nutrients. Not to mention, it's very bioavailable. This became a staple in my home when I was practicing the GAPS diet. It certainly helps in a lot of ways. The recommendation of supplements with any diet always raises a red flag for me. With that said, the intention of supplements in this diet is to provide added support in the healing process. Since the diet provides fermented foods, supplementation of probiotics is encouraged, except in the intro diet while the healing happens. Fermented cod liver oil or omega-3s, iodine paint, and digestive enzymes are also encouraged. This is to help the gut lining continue to heal. According to Dr. Natasha, iodine is essential for the healing and eliminating of toxins, as well as essential for the brain and the immune system. Definitely, it's important to point out that supplements are not always necessary for people while they're going through the GAPS diet. Personally, I never included supplements, however, I do see how they could be beneficial for others. Lifestyle. We all know that diet definitely means more than just food. Stress is a huge reason for our bodies to become inflamed. We live in a polluted world. Every day we breathe in car fumes and industrial wastes. We eat food containing pesticides, herbicides, and other agricultural chemicals. We drink milk and eat meat from animals which are routinely given antibiotics, steroids, and other drugs. We eat a countless number of chemicals in processed foods. We use personal care products full of chemicals shown to be cancer-causing and toxic. A big suggestion as part of the GAPS diet is to take Epsom salt baths, which can help significantly with the detoxification to remove toxins in the body. It's really important to provide an exit for these toxins, otherwise they hide within our bodies. Sunbathing will provide a good source of vitamin D, which also facilitates this process. Stress management is essential for success with GAPS. I can't emphasize that enough. This can include a number of different activities depending on, of course, what you enjoy. Walking, hiking, yoga, cycling, gardening, really whatever gets you to move and gets you to be outside. I found when I was doing this that I actually really enjoyed hiking, so it became something that I did regularly and still do today. Sleep is a big one. Getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night and maintaining that schedule is really important, and it can help prevent added stress and fatigue. Support. We all know this one is really essential as well. There are major changes that will affect a person's social world. Going out for drinks or happy hour isn't so doable right now, but those who are close to you should understand. Get your household involved. Cook together. Be there for each other. And reach out to support groups or meetups. There are resources online. Check them out. I actually included a link on this PowerPoint that takes you directly to the website that Dr. Natasha Campbell created herself, and there are several different types of support depending on what's going to be best for you. And of course, hydration. Remaining hydrated is a really easy way to continue to have toxins flushed out of your system. So my experience. I graduated from college in 2011 and returned home to Portland to begin my new life with my boyfriend. I was heavier than I'd ever been. I felt really unhappy and incomplete. Something was missing. I couldn't figure out what was going on, and I was totally confused. I had an amazing boyfriend, my first apartment, I just got a cat, and I had a degree. What more could somebody want? But I was still really unhappy, and I didn't know what to do. My parents rewarded me with $1,000 for graduating. After a lot of introspection, I decided that perhaps it was time to hire a nutritionist. After going online in search of a nutritionist, I found one who interviewed me and chose to use GAPS as my intervention. At that point, I had never heard of it. She explained that a lot of change was ahead, but healing was worth it. We met once a week for the first few months. She started me on the introduction diet. After 1 week of a serious amount of struggling with the adjustments, I returned to her office for a check-in. Seeing me, she decided to keep me on the diet for 1 month. I could not stop crying. She said my strong emotions were an indication of healing, and it was the release of toxins. I told her I felt very isolated because I couldn't go out with friends anymore. I felt really conflicted. She encouraged me to see if my boyfriend would get on board with me. I asked him, and he was completely willing to join. We worked together, which made it a lot easier. We created grocery lists and went to the store together. At first, this was really hard, especially to only buy real food. Crazy thought, huh? I quickly realized how much marketing is set out to doom you in the stores, on television, and on the streets. Over the next few months, I learned how to control myself and manage my hunger in ways I had never learned before. In addition, I think my relationship with food changed. Instead of eating because I was sad, stressed, angry, worried, happy, or celebratory, I learned to only eat when I was hungry. I lost 20 pounds quite quickly. After 1 year of being on the GAPS diet, I lost a total of 75 pounds. My boyfriend lost over 100 pounds. Red flags, anyone? Does this sound like a fad diet yet? There actually is no research done on this diet. Although Dr. Natasha Campbell has kept record of her clients and there are clear changes in her clients' behaviors, nothing has been researched. In addition, there are a number of people out there who have eliminated pain, reduced their body fat percentage considerably, and no longer struggle in school because of their diet shift. But there is no hard evidence connecting these successes to the GAPS protocol. Although, if you look at these images as displayed here, there's clearly a lot of change. According to the information we've learned in this class, I think it definitely classifies as a fad diet. However, with that said, I haven't gained much weight back, maybe 10 pounds, nor has my now ex-boyfriend, but where is the research to support this? Can we rely on SCD research? What do you think? Thanks, everyone. I appreciate you for listening. If you have any questions about the GAPS diet, I'm happy to answer them. I definitely believe in certain aspects of the GAPS diet, and I continue to incorporate some of the practices in my day-to-day. In sum, I think GAPS is a great treatment to help reduce inflammation, improve people's behavior, and maybe even cure some diagnoses. Maybe I should consider conducting the research. Here's some references for your review. Please enjoy.